In case you haven't noticed, there's an election taking place right around the corner. This week's forthcoming debate will really kick off the political season for the election of President and Vice President of the United States. So the question for this morning is, who are you going to vote for? And I can't believe how many people respond to this question by saying, I don't know. On the one hand, this one is this. On the other hand, the other one is that. And I'm not sure who to vote for. So that's where the rabbi comes in. I'm going to help tell you who to vote for. I'm not going to actually tell you who to vote for, but I can give you some guidance from our tradition on what to vote for, what qualities a leader should have. And no place do we have more insight into this question than in this week's Torah portion of Shoftim, the first word, judges and police, Shoftim v'Shotrim. And we are given a whole explanation of the various leaders that are found in the Jewish world, from prophets and leaders and priests. It's all laid out before us. But it's the laws governing the ultimate, most powerful of leaders that I think is most instructive. We're told, when you come to the land of Israel and settle therein, and you shall say that you want a king to lead you. And then God says, thou shalt set a king over thee whom the Lord thy God shall choose. The king as leader had such power and importance that only God could choose him. Now, we're not going to get into who God would choose in this election. But what we're going to go into is what the Torah then tells us, that there are 3 restrictions on every monarch. Every king would have 3 safeguards to his power. The first is that he could not have too much money. The second, the king could not have too many horses. And the third, that the king could not have too many wives. And it's been pointed out that in Hebrew, the word for throne, the symbol of the monarchy, is kisei, and the 3 Hebrew letters that make up this word represent the 3 restrictions on a king's power. The Kaf stands for kesef, not too much money. The Samach stands for sus, not too many horses. The Aleph stands for isha, not too many wives. But in the eyes of our sages, these 3 were meant not only as restrictions on what the king could possess as monarch. These 3 were also meant to represent restrictions on what would motivate a king to want to become a monarch. The king could not have too much money. All too often, we've seen that leaders in our country were motivated by their desire to serve their people, but that wasn't their only motivation. It was also to serve the almighty buck, to make contacts that would prove to be financial lucrative in their personal lives. From Spiro Agnew, the great state of Maryland, to Senator Menendez, recently from New Jersey. They use their contacts while in government to help stuff their bank accounts. The king could not have too many horses. The horse in ancient times was a symbol of power. And unfortunately, all too many leaders are motivated to assume positions of leadership simply because of the desire to have more and more power, to make others beholden to them. Korach in the Torah, he wanted to assume the position of leader, not because Moshe was doing a bad job, and not because Korah could do a better job, but simply because he was hungry for power. We know people like that. The king could not have too many wives. King Solomon, as you know, violated this restriction. According to tradition, he had 750 wives. Wait, in his spare time, he also had 300 concubines. Now that's a king. But you also might recall that King Solomon got into trouble because of this. Really, what does a man need 750 wives for? I mean, I can understand 365. But what motivated a man to have so many wives? Is it not simply a matter of vanity or ego gratification? The need to be the man or woman on campus? To have others envy what you have? No. That's an improper motivation for leadership. Money, power, vanity. If these are the factors that drive a person to want to be a political leader, then Jewish tradition would tell you, don't vote for such a person. Do any of the candidates for president fall into any of these categories? That's for you to decide. Shabbat Shalom.